Good morning, everybody. My name's Nando Reynolds, and it's an honor to welcome you to this Dharma talk with Will Johnson. Like many of you, I first met Will through his writings, and his Posture of Meditation book was so validating of my own experience, it got me really excited. So I've been a practitioner of Tai Chi and Qigong for more than 40 years, and I just found Will's poetic articulation of the subtle aspects of somatic experience just really delightful. And I've also trained in body work. So Will's understanding of the body and posture from his work with Ida Rolf and as a Rolfer was just right up my alley. And then I got to work with him in person after several years, and I was just delighted with him. And at the retreat, one thing that really tickled me was it included free movement to music. And I'm an ecstatic dancer, I'm a contact dancer for decades, and this guy was just really speaking my language. So I just got really excited. I've been a transpersonal psychotherapist in Talent, Oregon for 30 years. And yes, that's the same talent that just burned down. Fortunately, we live 2 miles away from the fire line, so my house is all good and like that. But anyway, when Will moved to Costa Rica, I was afraid that the visibility of his teaching would diminish. And I pestered him about training others, and then took part in his first 2-year teacher's training at his beautiful home and retreat center in Costa Rica. And we finished that this last February. And we got to do 2 weeks with him each year. It was wonderful. It was transformative. So anyway, please welcome Will Johnson. He's the man at the forefront of the movement to integrate the body into meditation. And I'm really looking forward to doing this this morning with you, Will.
Yeah, thank you, Nando. I do. I appreciate that. And it's interesting what you just said brought back some memories. It was actually you. You were the guy a couple of years ago. It was you who kind of planted the first seed saying, will you do some kind of teacher's training? I had subsequent urgings from a board member from Tricycle. And I kind of put those two together because they happened fairly close. One right after the other. And so we did. We went ahead and did that teacher's training. It was really a wonderful, wonderful experience. And also what you remind me of, we might as well just start here. There are two radical pieces. Anyway, I think they're somewhat radical that I bring to the Buddhist conversation. And, the one that Nandu is, speaking about is bringing this permission to allow natural, continuous, subtle, spontaneous motion to occur in the body while we're sitting supposedly still on our meditation cushions. And, one of the places that I have called out, the Buddhist world or the approach to sitting meditation that I do believe is necessary of recalibration. I sometimes use the word reformation, it's an even stronger word, is that mostly what I view when I sit in front of a room of Dharma practitioners, everybody sits down and we're sitting as though the goal of the practice has become like a stone garden statue of the Buddha, totally immobile, totally frozen, kind of like this. Okay. Now, I think unwittingly and inadvertently, the Dharma that's being taught right now, much of it has kind of painted itself into this corner of frozen stillness. And, my insistence that if we are to relax the body, we have to then allow subtle, spontaneous, continuous, amoeba-like motions to occur throughout the entire body in resilient response to the force of the breath. So that breath, if the body is truly relaxed, can just cause click, 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 transmitted motion throughout the entire body on the expansion, through the inhalation, the retraction back down, on the exhalation. And that motion needs to be allowed. It needs to be allowed. It needs to be allowed. If we don't allow that, what tends to happen, we get frozen in our bodies. We create a great deal of unnecessary tension and pain through holding ourselves really still. You can see what this does to the breath. Holding yourself very still stops breath in its tracks. Okay, it's not going to make any kind of transmitted motions. And as we're going to talk about in a second here, or in a minute, the Buddha's culminating instructions on breathing. It's not just to be aware of the breath, but it's to so surrender to it, and so, in a sense, experience its full presence. That as you breathe in, you're actually breathing through the whole body, through the whole body. It's so simple, and it's it's so there in the instructions. So anyway, these spontaneous motions, and Nando comes from a dance background to some degree. I do as well, although I didn't come by it naturally. But this notion of allowing spontaneous motion to occur throughout the body, throughout your experience, is very, very critical in unlocking the iron casing that keeps us stuck in the conventional dimensions of mind. That I think it's the urgency, the desire, the intuitive knowing that, hey, there can be an expansion here out of this claustrophobic kind of situation that I'm in, that I have a mind that's just going on, the thoughts are going on and on and on, and I'm just very, very deeply entrenched and enmeshed inside this body, and everything out there is something else. So that's a lot of what we're pointing to, in the sense pulling the pulling the plug on. As I was saying, and I'm starting to see these free Zoom talks that we're doing to have kind of a continuation. That one thing is naturally leading to the next. So I know last time what I started out doing is talking about some of the most basic of the traditional meditational instructions that have inspired me. As I've said, I view some of how things are being taught as in need of some recalibration, but the fundamental teachings are there. I think we just have to listen to them and see how we can frankly embody them, how we can bring them into our practice of sitting. For me, I teach sitting. I teach sitting as this mudra of transformation. And the teachings, the 2,500-year wisdom teachings from the Buddhist Dharma, we'll touch on a couple of them, have always been my main sources of inspiration and instruction. So the very first one is the Buddha's comment that as soon as you sit down in meditation, make sure the spine is erect and upright. Couldn't be more simple. There's something about the erect and upright spine. But if you go to Southeast Asia, for example, where the particular sutta in which that instruction is given is particularly revered, mostly it's a posture of collapse that you see the meditators sitting in. It's very, very common, that you get that. And yet the Buddha tells us to sit with the spine and erect and upright. Now, this, I think, again, is another, although it's the first meditation instruction, but I still view this as the second most radical piece that I bring to the Dharma conversation. And that notion is that there is a imaginary vertical line, just the vertical. Doesn't relate to anything, just the vertical line. If you were to run that right through your body, from the top of your head down through the mass of your torso, your belly, and right down into the ground. What we're wanting to do is to allow our body to start playing with that imaginary line, because if we can start exploring that line, the upright, sitting as tall as you possibly can be, but then you can start to relax in a way that you cannot relax if you're sitting like this. If you relax when you're sitting like this, you fall on the floor. So there's something about playing with this near magical, frankly, sense of this upright verticality. So it's kind of like a dance. Again, I'm going to go back to Nando's introduction. I kind of view the action of sitting down on my cushion, or for some people in a chair, other people on a kneeling bench. It's not so much that I sit down and begin my meditation practice. My meditation practice is about the sitting down. It's about the sitting down. And when you start playing with this sense of the vertical upright, the practice becomes almost like a very subtle dance, frankly, that you're responding to the breath, you're responding to the emergence of sensations, you're responding to the whole process, the same way that people on a dance floor, respond to the music. So it works that way. And I can't emphasize how strongly I feel about viewing your sitting on your cushion as just playing with this effortless upright, and you'll find it when you find that, the body is feeling into that effortless upright, there's almost a lifting quality that starts occurring. And it's very natural. This is not something that you have to try hard to manifest. You just sit here, the upright, the upright. Now, the whole point of the upright is, again, the second Dharma instruction from Tilopa's Song of Mahamudra: you do nothing but relax. That's meditation in a nutshell. According to Tilopa, do nothing with the body but relax. Well, the upright is going to allow us to relax. Okay? In a way that if you don't have that upright, you can't relax because you fall into gravity. This verticality, it's kind of a sweet spot that transforms gravity from a source against which we have to brace ourselves. And in that letting go, relaxation can occur. In the relaxation, that's when the whole body starts bursting forth in sensation, in feeling presence. It's a shimmer, it's a percolation, kind of like a carbonated quality of feeling presence. And we'll be talking about this in a few minutes, because it is the awakening of this feeling presence that, in my understanding, is what then allows us to enter the stream. We'll talk about this in in just a few moments. So you have the upright, you have relaxation. Then there's the Buddha's notion of breathing through the whole body. To breathe through the whole body, we have to awaken everything in the body. And then we have to allow these motions to occur, right? If I'm frozen still, the breath can't make its way through everything. Okay, it's as simple as that. The next phrase went back to Tilopa when he talks about becoming a hollow bamboo. Those of us who are following this path, who are really exploring how the upright allows us to relax, how the relaxation awakens sensation in the body, how everything can be so much easier, frankly, so much more fluid, less stressful, less bracing, less struggle. We find that sensations arise, and there's this kind of inner shaft of energy, what we call hollow bamboo, that becomes kind of a conduit that takes us from the mind that is locked in thinking thoughts into a dimension that's above and beneath that, okay? Where if we still want to conventionally use the concept mind, all it becomes is pure awareness. Just pure awareness, very much mirror-like. It's just here. There's no need of an intermediary, the concept I, to experience anything. And then ultimately I go back to I go to the Heart Sutra with its notion that everything that exists partakes of two qualities: one, form, very solid objects in the visible world, and the second, this underlying quality of the translations are usually as emptiness, wide open space, just wide open space. And to me, that is our fundamental birthright, to remember that who this system is ultimately this manifestation of what I call the great wide open. It's just very, very wide, very, very open, just open. I like the word open rather than empty. And then, of course, our work is to integrate everything so that we are functioning both in the world of form and in the world of the underlying emptiness simultaneously. So that's kind of what I presented last time. And then over the month, I actually read the Dhammapada again. And I came across this translation. It's a very short passage here. And I remember this is another of the passages that have given me the encouragement that I'm on the right path, that this surrender that I've been doing in my practice to breath, to sensation, to play, exploring the upright, relaxation, motion, is on the right path, because the Buddha tells us that for greater than all the joys of heaven and of earth, greater still than dominion over all the worlds, this should be good, right? He said it's the joy of entering the stream, reaching the stream. Now I remember that statement from early Theravada studies with Vipassana. And it always kind of fascinated me. What could this possibly mean, this entering the stream? And the more that I've, the more that I've explored this more somatic orientation to the Dharma world and to meditation, but it's not really like I'm consciously exploring. For most of us, when we start awakening in this way, if we play with this magical upright, that allows us to relax through the whole body. And then that relaxation is continued over time with, and built, frankly, through this surrender to breath that can actually cause the clavicle to move a little bit, okay? Cause every bone in the spine to move a little bit. When we're able to do that, this notion of entering the stream becomes very palpable for me. So, and that's what I'm wanting us to play here with today. So entering the stream. First of all, where are we if we're not entering the stream? We're out on the dry bank of the river, which pretty much describes a lot of what passes as normal, the condition of consciousness that passes as normal in the world at large. It's a bit dry, it's a bit brittle. There's often a lot of kind of holding and tension and bodily pain or numbness. We're often these little thought balloons. We live our life lost in thought. And when we are living our life lost in thought, we are out of touch, literally out of touch with the felt shimmer, the natural condition of the body. As I've been saying in these talks and in the teaching that I've been doing, Buddha is about awakening, okay? And what needs to awaken, what is so asleep, is the shimmer, the felt shimmer, the tingle, the vibratory hum, the buzz, that is the natural state of a relaxed body. And we literally want to invite sensations to come alive again. Okay, that's the awakening. And when that happens, suddenly we perhaps can be said to have entered the stream, because no longer is body blank, right? Like an ice field, just solid, unfeeling. When I'm so lost in my mind, I feel nothing. And in fact, I have to inhibit sensation from manifesting so that I can stay up here, lost in the random and unbidden thoughts of the mind. Okay, so we're reversing that, allowing, just inviting felt awareness, giving ourselves permission to allow felt awareness to come back into the forefront of our experience, and everything starts changing. Now, to allow that felt presence to come back, play with the upright. Allows the body to relax. We awaken and relax through each and every part of the body. And then every breath we take, subtle, but very, very palpable. And then suddenly, a body that was previously, frankly, an unfelt concept, I, which is a concept, have a body, which is a concept. So is have a concept, actually. And all of that is completely different from the awakened felt awareness of body, from head to foot. And that to me is the first step upon entering into the stream. Now, I know a lot of you who've been on these calls and have done retreats with me, you know precisely what I'm talking about and have that experience. For anybody here who's new to this, let's all do this. This is an exercise I often do. I hold out the palm of a hand. Just simply hold out a palm of a hand. There it is, right? Maybe even close your eyes and put your awareness in the hand. Now, I may have many ideas about what my hand is and what it looks like and the color of the skin and the nails. But if you just put your awareness right in the middle of your hand, what's going on? Something's going on there. It's not solid. Something's going on. Keith, do you want to unmute people? And anybody who wants to throw out some words, how would you describe what's actually transpiring inside the hand? Go ahead, anybody.
Like a tingling energy.
Okay. What else? What other words would people use? A tingling energy. Yeah, it's a tingling energy.
Alive.
I'm sorry?
Alive. It feels very alive once you focus
Very
on it.
alive. Very alive. It's alive because it's life is movement, right? Life is that tingling vibratory. Yeah. Anybody else?
Rather painful, actually.
Painful. So there's painful sensation in the hand as well. We have to accept the full gamut of sensations, right? And in the beginning, it's often we get excited when we feel the sensations like soft falling rain. I want to live there forever. The sensations like soft falling rain, the initial awakening, what it does is allows us to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And we may start feeling, wait, there's an ache that's there. That ache is every bit as valid a sensation as the pleasurable shimmers, that we like the pleasurable shimmer, we want that. And the ache, not so much. But it's actually through the aches. These unpleasant sensations are impeccable guides to where I need to put my attention in my body next and feel into what's going on there and let go to whatever wants to happen. The ache may get quite a bit more intense, or there may be a sudden flash of an opening. Who else? Someone else throw out how you describe this. It's unusual. We don't have the vocabulary to describe these kinds of things, but we're all doing a good job. Go ahead, someone else.
Warm and expanding.
Warm and expanding. It's interesting. Warm and expanding. There's definitely a temperature to it, and expanding. That's how's that happening? I mean, it's so interesting. Conventionally, I view my hand and I can certainly see the limits of the physical hand, correct? Okay. And yet, when we start opening to the sensation that is there, feeling the sensation, first of all, it can start buzzing and vibrating, tingling energy, alive, achy. But then the next thing we might be aware of, it almost feels like it's expanding outside of the boundary of where I know my physical hand ends. So again, we're experiencing a kind of awakening and an opening. Anybody else who wants to add anything? If not, we'll go on here.
It's light and heavy at the same time.
Say that again, please.
Light and heavy at the same time.
Same time. How do you explain that? I mean, that's an interesting one. It's true. You're holding it out there, and there is a heaviness, but it's almost like something internal that has to do with the shimmer and the space. It just feels like a helium balloon. Wow. It's as though it could expand. It could open. Now, all of this is body as we experience it. And Keith, do you want to mute everybody and then maybe bring me back to the main speaker here? So much of the Dharma that I'm teaching, again, it's about awakening that which is asleep, awakening what we are not aware of. It's not as though, I don't think anymore, it's not as though we have to, pump up some kind of very exotic, exalted state that does not already exist. It has to do with simply waking what's so very sleepy. And even what we're talking about is our body, tingling, energy, alive, heavy, light, achy, shimmery. These are generally not words that we use to describe our body. Mostly we use words to describe the physical, solid form of the body, but we're getting into the other side, the wave-like dimension. Again, I like that it's there's particles and there's waves. There's the form, and then there's the wave-like quality of. Those are the two categories that 20th century physicists like to divide everything into, which worked fine until there were experiments done that showed that light can be definitively proven to be a particle, but other experiments that prove it to be a wave. And form and emptiness, the solidity of the body, and the stream-like quality. So body becomes more like the shimmering waters in a moving stream. And that, again, to me, is what the Buddha is saying is beyond all the dominions of the world. If we can, awaken ourselves, because in that awakening, so much of the torment of the mind, it just starts dissolving. It just is not churning out the torment anymore. It's just, we just get a plug pulled on it, and we, in a sense, walk into the waters, just like a fish moving through waters. We just enter the stream. And then, the Buddha doesn't talk about this, but the next thing that we do is that we let go. We let go to the current of the sensations, and we just let it take us, trusting in the wisdom that the current of awakened sensations is going to keep propelling us through whatever it is that's holding the current back, and heal whatever that holding resistance is, and just keep taking us, so that the path of practice becomes one of awakening and letting go. Once it's awakened, there's the sensations. Just follow it. Let it go. Just like going on a float trip. And like float trips, there will be some passages that are extraordinary, and other passages that are going to scare you silly. And that's the nature of this process, but you just keep riding through. You just keep riding through. Okay, let's take the rest of the time that we have here this morning to explore some of what we've been talking about and putting some of these words into actual experience and practice. So you might want to just stretch or just get yourself comfortable. And then I ask everybody to sit down. We'll do this practice sitting down. Okay. Now, you may be sitting on a chair, you may be sitting cross-legged on sitting cushions, on the floor, you may be on a kneeling bench, it doesn't matter. But the same principles of the upright are going to apply. And what I mean by that, I'm really going to suggest that you make sure that the sitting bones of your pelvis are at a higher elevation than your knees. Obviously, in a kneeling bench, you've got that going. Sitting cross-legged on the floor, or hopefully on a very cushy zabuton. And those of you know that I'm not a big fan of the pancake thin zabutons because they don't really give our feet cushioning. I sit on 6 inches of foams. Okay, so it makes my life so much more comfortable on the cushion. And then I have a bolster that raises my pelvis. So I have that relationship between the sitting bones and the knees. Now, the same thing is very much true for those of you who are sitting on a chair. Sitting on a chair is absolutely fine, okay? What you want to make sure, though, is that you sit forward on the chair. You don't just kind of lean back into the cush of the chair. Get yourself forward on the chair so you can play with the upright every bit as much as people who are on kneeling benches or sitting cross-legged on the floor. Okay, so there it is. You're out on the front of the chair. You may have to bring a pillow or something to put on the front surface of the chair so when you're sitting, your sitting bones are a little bit more elevated than your knees, and then your feet are flat on the floor. Okay? Now, why do we sit like this? Because this is what gives us the base of support that's going to allow the upright torso from the tip of the coccyx all through the spine, right up through the top of the head to start playing around that upright vertical. Now look, viewed from the side, there are natural curves in the spine. We're not trying to straighten those out. We're just trying to experience how our whole body can, in a sense, organize itself. So we can feel where that shaft, this imaginary vertical axis, it goes deep down, right through the perineum, right into the earth. It comes forward, it comes up, through the upper torso, through the neck, right out through the top of the head. So we sit up as tall as we possibly can be. It's another way of finding this. There are things that we do when we have more time in the retreats to play with finding this place of verticality. But the koan that I most often use is, how can I sit in such a way that I'm as tall as I possibly can be, but as relaxed as I possibly can be? And this for me is where everything starts on this path of what we're calling hollow bamboo Dharma, or frankly of any Dharma. I want people to take this into Zen sessions, into the Vajrayana, Datuns and the Vipassana retreats, in addition to playing with it at, specifically at the retreats that I share. So how tall can you be while remaining as relaxed as you can be? So, relaxed is not collapsed. Relaxed and tall is not a soldier standing at attention. So we just play with that. And remember what I said, what starts happening is that meditation the posture becomes more like a dance, a spontaneous play of the effortless upright. Okay? So we feel ourselves balancing on our two sitting bones. Okay? And there's also further stability offered by, I'm sitting cross-legged on my cushions by my knees and my legs. That's very stable. Now everything over that, when I play with this notion of where the upright is, the Buddha says, sit with the spine erect and upright. Everything starts shifting around a little bit, moving and playing with it. It's almost like I'm a tree, a newly planted tree in a fairly good sized breeze. There's the upright. Now, what I can do is to even bring out the sense of felt presence even more. Take my awareness through my body, just as we're doing with our hands. Put your awareness up in the top of your head. How tall can I be? How relaxed can I be? There's more of that alive, vibratory stuff, funny kind of movement, shimmer, very subtle, but it's palpable and you can feel it spreading. The whole scalp area, to the forehead, the eyes, down through the face. We're going quite rapidly here, but a lot of it is simply give yourself permission to invite sensation to come back to felt life. And as soon as it comes back to felt life, then realize, oh, now I can just let go of it. I can relax it. So we start experiencing sensation coming alive. Oh, and it's a little tense. I can just let go. So for me, yes, I'm wanting to awaken the body, but it's not just enough to passively observe sensation. Yes, passively observing sensation will alter it. But if you add passive observation of invited awakened sensation, if you add to that, as soon as I feel something, then just relax, let go. That's what Talopa says. Do nothing but relax. We go much deeper, much more rapidly, frankly. Now, remember, relaxation is letting go. You cannot force relaxation to occur. Okay, so you're not really doing something different from passively observing it as it is. You're not forcibly trying to change it, but you're just letting go. That's not kind of a working to try to get it to be different from how it is. We bring our awareness down right into the neck. Remember that there's this imaginary, like a laser line of light that is this one sweet spot that if we can align ourselves around this sweet spot, it changes our relationship with gravity. No, we're not going to float off into space, but we also don't have to brace ourselves. And in that bracing, that's where we bring tension in, that's where we get locked in the head, and that's where we stop breath in its tracks. Okay? So we go through the neck and then the shoulders, feeling your shoulders. Often just in the act of relaxing sensation, there can be some motion again that starts occurring, and all the way down the arms. Now look, sensations don't just light up immediately, okay? It's just like stars coming out at night. So the longer we do this, the more sensations can come alive. Moving the awareness through your upper torso, the whole rib cage, front of the rib cage, the sides, the back. And some areas of the body may feel kind of like that tingle in the hand. Others may feel, oh, painful. Others may feel, I can't feel much. All of those are legitimate qualities of sensation. Accept them, exactly as they are. That's the passive observation, inviting them to come to felt life as they are. And then because of the upright, you can relax, let go. See how that shifts things. Bringing your awareness down into your belly. Down into the pelvis. Down through the legs, the whole body in a sense. How tall can I be? How relaxed can I be? Now, just going to encourage you all to continue to play with this notion that this act of sitting in upright balance is more of a subtle dance than a solid garden statue Buddha posture. So the more you're able to do this, the more you relax. Try this for a second. Everybody just freeze. Just freeze. Don't let anything move. Okay, first of all, can there even be any breath? You stop breath immediately and you feel sensations intensify. Isn't that so? So we play with balance. Look at upright balance. It's not like a fence post. It's more like what happens when you ride a bicycle or something. You're constantly moving, constantly moving. And if I am to prolong relaxation over time, I have to just keep moving. Just keep moving. Subtle, so subtle. The more you play with the upright, this dance of upright balancing, the more you relax, sensations start coming out of hiding and say they're welcome back from their exile in the land of the unfelt. The more the shimmer of the stream appears, the more it gets awakened through the whole body. And it just starts doing its thing. It's very organic. Once you awaken body, it just shimmers the way it shimmers, and it builds and it subsides and it goes here and it goes there. We just start riding that because it's natural. It's this natural process that that keeps allowing layers and layers to that we've been struggling with just to come undone. Comes undone and comes undone. Simple. Okay? So the more we keep playing with this, the more sensations emerge, and the more we find ourselves just like little kids. Hot summer day, we walked and walked and walked to the river, threw off our clothes, jumped in. It feels so good. And the next thing we know, we feel alive again. And the river, the current's just taking us. And we're on our way. We've done this 100 times. It's safe, no danger. We're going to just let the river take us 200 yards downstream, where we all get out and we walk back up. And that to me is the practice of the Dharma. It's the practice of meditation. I sit down in the morning, coming out of the stillness of sleep, kind of, residual tension, holding grogginess. I sit down. How tall can I be? How relaxed can I be? Can I start allowing more motion to come through the body? The shimmer starts coming alive. And then the practice for me, once those basic principles are established, the alignment, the relaxation, the resilience that allows the shimmer to come forward, at that point, the practice becomes for me, I've entered the stream, now you just let go. You let go. And the shimmer builds, it subsides. I'm not directing it anymore. I'm just letting go. A leaf in a stream. Leaf in an awakened stream that I've fallen into. Okay. You may want to move your awareness through the body again, as is done in some of the medical scans and the whole of the extraordinary practice of Ubakin, style of Vipassana, taking the awareness, awakening the body, or awakening the sensation. If we can add this play around the upright and the relaxation of the sensation that appears, and then the recognition that everything wants to move, expand through, maybe retract back in. Then we can start going very, very deep, very, very rapidly. Okay, let's all just sit here for a little bit more. Going back up into the head. Where do you feel pain in your body? Go right there. Let yourself feel the unpleasant sensation exactly as it is. Realize that the unpleasant sensation is keeping you small and is not moving. So as you feel that sensation, just relax. You can feel how you can relax the sensation. And with the next breath, see if you can breathe right into that place. Nothing forcing, but you just allow a little more motion to occur. Keep moving your awareness so that you awaken the whole body. To enter the stream, the whole body has to become awakened. We can move part by part. In the beginning, it's very helpful to start the awakening process. But the entrance into what the Buddha is calling the stream occurs when the whole of the body from head to foot just starts shimmering. It's like water moving in a river. That's it. In the head, feel your neck and throat, shoulders, the arms right into the hands and every single little finger. Every single little piece and part of your body, there's sensation that could be awakened. Bring it alive. Moving the awareness down, right through the torso. Down through the belly, into the pelvis, through the legs, over and over and over again, if you have to. And then a point comes when you experience the whole of the body as a unified field. Now, the sensations may be different in different places. You may still have a pain here or there, but there can be a watery fluidity that comes through the awareness of the whole of the body, felt as a unified field. And this ability to experience the whole of the body all at once, as we'll see in the next talk that we're going to do in a couple of weeks, in the next meditation, is going to be one of the ingredients that is going to allow you then to make this shift into what I call the Great Wide Open. To find this place, inside yourself that is this natural ground dimension, the emptiness that the Heart Sutra talks about permeating the world of form. But it all starts here. It all starts. What is this mystical vertical? Why is it so important? One of my teachers taught me once that this mystical vertical of the body can start playing with that, organize itself around it. It will allow the body to let go in such a way. I never heard her use the word spiritual. She would say it would awaken, almost like a stone dropping into a pool of water, because you can drop your weight. You don't have to brace against gravity. Boom, it will awaken what she referred to as evolutionary energies. And they're energies, they're palpable, they're real, you feel them. This is the deep sensational presence of the body. And that would result in an evolutionary expansion of consciousness. In many ways, that's what I teach. In the Dharma world, in sitting meditation, we're playing with the upright. It allows us to let go. We relax tension. We let go of frozen stillness. And through that letting go, these deep, deep energies that have, we've had them under lock and key. We've exiled them. We don't feel them because we're so locked up here, identified with the speaker of our thoughts. The heft, the presence of being, the felt palpable presence of being comes alive. And we ride on that, literally like a current in a river. And that's where the awakening comes through. So in many ways, what I'm teaching is sitting as sitting. It's almost more like, I think of this sometimes, it's almost more like exploring a posture, yoga posture, if you want. As I said, I teach the sitting posture as this mudra. It's this upright play, this dance of upright, relaxed, surrendered balance, breath by breath, relaxation by relaxation. And through the ongoing exploration of this meditative dance. I mean, I tend not to want to call it a dance because that, that has other connotations that, as Nando was saying at the beginning of the time here, it's an equally important part. I like to do my sitting practices, and then I like to do a lot of spontaneous movement practices or strong physical practices, yoga, swimming, Pilates, that kind of thing. It's as though we want to do both. But in some ways, I'm bringing the notions of the world of spontaneous dance and movement onto the cushion, because that's where we can relax. That's where we can actually embody Talopa's instructions to relax, to do nothing but relax. We bring that in, we come alive, we enter the stream. So next time, I think it's 2 weeks from Saturday. We actually had to change this one to Sunday today, but it'll be in 2 Saturdays from now. I invite you to join me again, and we'll directly talk about this notion that I call the Great Wide Open, which to me is the fundamental birthright state that we all have here. It's what we all, in a sense, want. And we're grasping and trying to create it while it's here. What we want to do is just to find out how to let go of the resistance to allowing it to be here. And entering the stream is our first requirement, in a sense, for that. So we'll, deal with that in the next couple of weeks. All of this is, getting ready for. We'll have another retreat coming up in October. Maybe tell you more about that in the next, in our next Zoom talk. For now, I'm going to turn this back over to Nando. Thank you, everybody. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy sharing this with all of you people. My wish for all of this: give yourself permission to wake up, to feel. We live within a culture that actually, I call it somatophobic. It doesn't want this physical shimmer to awaken, tragically. Give yourself permission to let body come alive and just simply watch what happens. So I'll be talking to you in, 2 weeks from Saturday. Thank you. Nando, you want to finish this up, please?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Will. That was so lovely. It's, it reminds me of our time down in Costa Rica together, and just, it's wonderful to sit with you again in this way and to hear your wisdom again. Each time that I have the opportunity to sit with Will and take in the message that he has, I feel like it goes a little bit deeper into it and settles more deeply into my body. So thank you so much for this time, and we tried to post some resources that remind folks of the the events that you're going to be doing in the next bit, Will. And if folks, if you haven't signed on to Will's website at embodiment.net, I recommend that you do that. Take advantage of the resources that he has there, and do your practice. Thank you so much.